Lumberyard in Pullman. This is the Cougar Football Hour. Tonight's show is presented by the Lumberyard. They got something for everyone at the Lumberyard Food Hall in downtown Pullman. Now, alongside Cougar head coach Jimmy Rogers, here's the voice of the Cougs, Chris King.
Welcome into the Lumberyard here in Pullman. Happy Apple Cup Week. How is everyone doing here at the Lumberyard tonight? So great to hear. It is the Boeing Apple Cup. It is right here in Pullman, Gesa Field, Saturday, 4:30 kickoff. We can't wait, and we are here with the head coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers. We not only have Coach Rogers here, we got a packed show tonight. We have Donnell Kirkwood Jr., running backs coach, and Angel Johnson, running back for the Cougs as well, stopping by. Coach, okay, it's just every week is busy this time of year, but no doubt being back at home, who the opponent is, has to make it a busy one.
Yeah, it's honestly the first thing I heard when I got here is beat you dub, so I know how important this is. But obviously, I think the most important thing was addressing the issues that we had last week, a disappointing loss, one that is really not really vindicative of who we are as a football team. I believe that we're so much better than that. It was a bunch of really uncommon errors that haven't came, and they came all at once. And then when it got out of control, we kind of lost momentum inside of the game, and it was hard to respond. It's a good football team in North Texas, one that will be competitive all year long. But the reality is I'm not going to judge our performance based off of what we're going against. We need to be responsible for our own action and take course, the steps and process in order to improve, to put together a product that we're proud of, that we can look at and say that we did our best. And I think that you'll see that this weekend. The guys have had a great week of practice. They know who we're playing. It will be competitive, and it will be physical, and we're going to play for 60 minutes regardless of the outcome, but we expect to win in this football game.
And it's a very popular answer here at the Lumberyard. And going back to last week, the turnovers were a big deal, especially in the first half. Is it just one of those things where things start to go wrong and it had kind of a snowball effect?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we throw the interception after they scored. So they marched down the field 75 yards. They score. We had opportunities even in that drive to have a response of what wasn't really the best football. We got them to a 2nd and 16 after a sack. That was the opportunity right there to make a play to really kind of hold them up or hold them to a field goal. They end up getting a routine play that's a 17-yard pass play just because there's miscommunication and we're kind of lack of alignment and dropping in zone coverage and things that we've done about 3,000 times with this group already alone. And we don't make a play. And then it led to a first down, obviously, in the red zone, and then they kind of walk into the end zone. And then we respond right away with that, with the turnover that's returned to the opposite side of the field. And, we don't set an edge on the play, and it naturally just kind of runs away from us. A play that has been done so many times by that player that ended up not setting the edge, that missed that tackle, that I would put full trust in it. He would make it, 10 out of 10 times. He just didn't make it. And before you knew it, it was 14-0 with 10 minutes and 55 seconds left in the first quarter. Had the ability still to respond inside of the game, and we just kept killing ourselves. Bad throws, misreads, at times not handing the ball off and throwing into coverage when we shouldn't have thrown it into coverage. And then we got to get the run game going. As one of the first things I said, we got to surge into the line of scrimmage with the level of physicality and dominance that they expect to move the ball regardless of what they're doing. And we didn't do it. And then it kind of led to defensively at times us reaching. We turned it over again, and we're reaching to just try to make a play. And when you do that, and I haven't experienced that for a long time, but I have experienced it, when you don't have success and you keep reaching to make a play that's really not yours to make, you end up doing things out of pocket that aren't really your job, which lead to more critical errors. And it was a snowball effect of many things, and then before you know it, you're going into half. And at that point, you're not even talking about winning. You're talking about playing for pride, and it's one thing that I don't do. It's one thing that I don't want to do, because that's just showing that you lost the game. And so we need to respond this week in a physical matchup, and one that, many don't think that we have a shot. We do, and that's really all that matters.
You mentioned the response part of it. I imagine that was not the most fun film to go over with the team. How was it for those guys kind of absorbing what was probably more critical than complimentary looking back at the tape?
I mean, there's no hiding from the truth, and you got to be honest with people. And when you put out that type of product, you got to learn from it. There's no other way. If you just say it was one game, brush it to the side, we're at that point now. But in order to grow as a person, you need to go through the hardships in which it takes, in which you failed. And we failed in many different ways, and we got to get better. And we won't be perfect in this game, but I don't think you need to be perfect to win games. You need to have a perfect intent, and you need to be locked in, and you got to be willing to fight through the hard times inside of a game to get yourself out of it. If we're going to have the poor me's, we're not going to win too many games. What is a really difficult schedule? We're traveling across the country. We want to look for excuses. We can find them. And I'm just not willing to accept excuses when it's on us all, players, coaches, and everybody, to stay consistent about the approach to winning.
And with that, later in that game, when it was, a little out of hand, there were some guys who maybe got their first playing time, guys who we haven't seen as much, that while it wasn't going to pay dividends necessarily on Saturday in the final outcome, that guys get some experience that hopefully pay dividends down the road.
Yeah, that's always, huge. Unfortunately, some of those players that are getting their first reps for the first time are due to injury, and the reality is I've preached next man up forever, and we try to teach them all like that. We try to train them all like that. We try to make them all believe like that. And, if you're a 3 or a 4, you kind of feel like, am I getting into this game? But the reality is they have to say, I am the next guy, and I have to prepare that way. I have to, study that way. And I may not get always the same amount of reps inside of a practice to prepare myself. But I would say every time that you watch a rep, you're living it. And if you're doing it right, you got to put yourself in those shoes of the guys ahead of you, and you got to make sure that you're trying to get yourself there. Reality is there ain't enough reps in practice to rep your 3s and 4s just like how you rep your 1s and 2s. Otherwise, we'd be out there for 6 hours. I don't know if Angel would like that too much.
We'll get ask him that later, as Angel Johnson will be joining us, Cougar running back, later on here on the Cougar Football Hour. 2 guys had their first career catches. Landon Wright, who I know praised recently for just how talented he is and what a bright future he could have. And then Hudson Cedarland, someone who has been kind of on a position switch before. I know it's kind of a unique story for him that, sticking through it, changing coaching staff, and now as a tight end. Was it neat to see in a game that was tough overall, those guys get their first career catches?
Yeah, go back to San Diego State, too. There's a lot of first in that game, right? First sack for Bobby Terrell, and first for Leon. There's a lot of firsts because there's a lot of people that are playing for the first time together, and there's a lot of guys that haven't had a role that need to have a role. And, I think nowadays in the landscape of college football, that's just now more and more typical of the sliding scale of when a coach leaves and a new coach comes in. You have all this attrition that happens, and so you can't flip an entire roster. We damn near did it with 75, unfortunately, but it's the reality of where we're in. You got to make the most of it. Those guys are an example of that. Landon Wright has unbelievable talent, and he needs to keep progressing at a rate to where we can put him in the game and him feel free to go make plays. And in so many ways he's grown, and Hudson Cedarland has gotten so much better. Just the more we've been able to work with him for the first time playing a different position that he hasn't played since his high school days. It is a unique year, and we're only going to get better. So I'm not losing faith on what we can become. There's a lot of guys that are going to be stepping into roles even this weekend that maybe haven't had their first. But if they've done it on a football field, the difference is just now they're doing it in front of 37,000 people. And can that come with emotion? Can that come with a heightened sense of urgency and anxiety that may stem from it? It's what we signed up for, and they got to embrace it and make the most of it. And I'm excited to see the players step up this weekend, especially after last weekend.
That is the head coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers, joining us here on the Cougar Football Hour. A reminder, check out the all-new Inside WSU Athletics podcast each week here straight from WSU Director of Athletics, Ann McCoy, as the podcast will take fans inside Cougar Athletics with all the latest news and information, including interviews with Cougar coaches, student-athletes, alumni, and staff. That's every episode. First episode, the debut episode, just dropped this week. Ann McCoy with President Elizabeth Cantwell. So President Cantwell Cantwell joining the podcast, and also Alex Brink. No bad time to talk to him, but especially Apple Cup week, having Alex Brink on the Inside WSU Athletics podcast. You can catch each episode on the WSU Cougars YouTube page, or download the show and listen on your favorite podcast platform. It is the Cougar Football Hour. We will take a time out here from the Lumberyard. More with the head coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers. After this, you are listening to the Cougar Football Hour on the Cougar Sports Network.
Get game day ready at Rosars. Rosars is a proud sponsor of WSU Athletics and your headquarters for keeping snacks stocked up for game time. You'll find the largest craft beer selection, local and imported wines, and all the makings for your favorite cocktails. And while you're there, stock up on your favorite deli snacks, pizza, rotisserie chickens, and ribs. Don't just watch the game, experience it with your favorite game time foods. Get game day ready at Rosars.
As proud Cougs, we always find our way back home. At McVeigh Brothers, we want to help all Cougs improve the value of your home. Hello, I'm Mike McVeigh from McVeigh Brothers Roofing, Siding, and Windows, a proud supporter of Cougar Athletics. The team of professionals at McVeigh Brothers take great pride in helping our customers remodel their homes with new entry doors, rain gutters, siding, roofing, and windows. At McVeigh Brothers, we're working for you.
Alliant Employee Benefits is the Inland Northwest leader in employee benefit consulting and brokerage. Alliant is a difference maker, providing employee benefit solutions and problem solving while helping companies grow and protect their business. Alliant keeps its clients on the forefront of the benefit industry's constant evolution while improving the benefits experience for employees through better health outcomes and more cost-effective care. Give Alliant a call and see what they can do for you.
Your audio home for all things Cougar Athletics is the Washington State Cougar Podcast Channel. Just search for Washington State Cougars on your favorite podcast platform to follow and subscribe to the official podcast home of the Cougs. Hear our original WSU Athletics podcast, plus replays from the Cougar Sports Network, including football pregame and postgame show coverage, full football game broadcast, and coaches shows. Find it all by searching for Washington State Cougars on your favorite podcast platform to start listening today.
Each time you bring your Toyota vehicle to be serviced at a local and participating Toyota dealership, you can receive a premium Washington State giveaway item as a member of the Toyota Rewards Program. Stay tuned for more information on how to become a Rewards Program member. Back here at the Lumberyard in Pullman with the head coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers. It is the Cougar Football Hour. Coming up, we'll get into our guest, Donald Kirkwood Jr., running backs coach for the Cougs. We'll stop by. Angel Johnson, running back for Washington State, will be here as well. But it is the Boeing Apple Cup week. It is rivalry week, and we're here with Jimmy Rogers. In your coaching career, in your playing career, when we're talking about rivalries, what are some of those big rivalries that you've experienced before?
Yeah, at South Dakota State, you play in one called the Border Marker. It's us versus North Dakota State. It's probably one of the best in FCS football, if not the best. It's comparable to Montana State. Those that are in this region kind of understand what that is maybe. And honestly, over the last 7 years, you're playing one versus two in the FCS ranks. And so when you're playing your in-conference, foe, and they're one and you're two, or you're one and they're two, I mean, it has everything to do with recruiting to the marker in itself, to playoff implications, to the national championship ability to get the right seeding to have a run at the playoffs. So winning that game is just as pivotal as winning this one. The players that we brought know what that feels like. It's just a different team and a new color. At the end of the day, if you're a competitor, it doesn't really matter who you play, but it's always heightened when you play somebody that you hate. And that's a program that I grew in hating more and more. Obviously, that stems from, years of heartache of being right at there and having the opportunity to go to the national championship. But, due to FCS funding and playoff seeding, you're playing them rather than playing somebody else and then meeting up in the national championship. And so we've gone back and forth for years against them and had the opportunity to get to the national championship and actually play them in 2022, which made that first national championship that we won that much more special when you're beating the team that kind of kept you off for years. So, there's a lot of feelings that come with these games, especially when you hate each other, and I know what that feels like, so this is no different.
And the 117th version of the Boeing Apple Cup. So much history, and another edition coming up on Saturday, 4:30 kickoff at Gesa Field. Our pregame coverage, Derek Dice and Billy Newman. That will get started on the Cougar Sports Network at 2:30. Coach, let's get to our guest, Donald Kirkwood Jr., running backs coach on your staff. What does he bring to the program?
No, it's a good question. I'm still trying to figure it out. Just kidding. Yeah, he brings a lot of energy. He's very serious when it comes to football, but he's got a lighthearted sense of humor in the meeting rooms and knows what he's doing, can coach the guys, can get the best out of players. I think it's been seen just in his impact that he's had on, Leo since he's been here, because Leo's been playing his best football since I've arrived right now. And just the work ethic and the dedication to not just impacting the football team, but impacting the players' lives, I think is when you coach the right way, it's not about you. It is about investing in people and giving yourself to others. And Donnell is a picture of that.
And then Angel Johnson, with him, he comes in here. You're very familiar with him from his time at South Dakota State, but as someone who kind of comes from a unique situation where at South Dakota State, loaded at running back. What a great lineage at running back. So with those guys, but maybe behind those guys, and here he is now at Washington State. How would you describe him as a teammate, as a player, as someone to coach?
Yeah, I think he's a team-first guy, and I think you can see it just like what you said. A lot of times when you have a lot of talent, you expect to be the guy, but when you're in a program loaded with guys, especially at the running back position, you have to be patiently impatient. You have to work your tail off and understand that the reps that you get are just as important as the guy that's ahead of you. We just so happen to have Pierre Strong, who went to the NFL, that was backed up by Isaiah Davis, who went to the NFL, who was backed up by Amar Johnson, who went to the NFL. So, there's a work in progress. When one guy goes out, it opened up another role, and for him, he was kind of in that 2 position, but well ready to be the 1 last year. Honestly, in a lot of our games, he kept us alive and gave us something that even Amar didn't give us. And then behind him, it was Kirby and Maxwell. And those 2 are kind of in that same boat that Angel has gone through in his experience. And when you make it about each other and not about your individual statistics and highlight you, I think you grow more as an individual, and you surely grow more as a team to have more team success. Because it's no different when you have a bunch of talented wide receivers. The ball only touches somebody's hands once a game, once a play. So you have to buy into your role. And if you want to do it at the next level is not just looking at statistics. I can promise you that. They're looking at guys that are going to be well equipped to take the next step, understand the workload in which they're going to be asked to do. Can they play on special teams? Are they tough? Are they physical? Do they learn well? And that's maybe the biggest things that we preach, and it's why we've been able to produce players is you got to hold people accountable and be honest with them, but you also have to get them to make it not about themselves, and Angel's an example of that.
Well, we're excited to talk to him coming up. Coach, we'll let you loose for now and have you back a little later on as we have our opponent preview talking about the Huskies.
Appreciate it.
Again, that is Jimmy Rogers, the head coach of the Cougs, joining us here at the Lumberyard in Pullman. It is the Cougar Football Hour. And a reminder, tonight's show is brought to you in part by Northern Quest. Earn your bragging rights at Northern Quest with more slot machines, table games, restaurants, lounges, and luxury hotel rooms than anyone else in the region. Northern Quest, yes, the best. More at northernquest.com. We will take a timeout. More after this. You're tuned in to the Cougar Football Hour on the Cougar Sports Network.
This Washington State University sports broadcast is brought to you in part by Pullman Regional Hospital, the official hospital of Washington State Athletics. Rural communities face unique healthcare challenges. By providing hands-on opportunities for WSU students in health sciences, nursing, pharmacy, and the L.S. Floyd College of Medicine, Pullman Regional Hospital is helping to shape the future of local healthcare. Learn more at pullmanregional.org. Pullman Regional Hospital and Washington State, partners in excellence.
Play, stay, get away at Clearwater River Casino in Lewiston, Idaho. Owned and operated by the Nez Perce Tribe. Experience Namipu hospitality with 600 gaming machines, comfortable lodging, dining, and sports bar. Excitement is everywhere. The region's premier destination for events and entertainment. Win big with unforgettable concerts, comedy shows, and live sports action. Discover your next play, stay, get away. Visit crcasino.com and start your adventure today.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End of friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Okay, text from the wedding planner. She's talking about a cake pop mural.
Ah, exciting.
Ooh, it's $8,000.
Oh.
I don't know, we're trying to save for a house.
Well, you only get married once. Or twice. 3 times tops.
There's a lot of bad money advice out there. For knowledge you can trust, come to Gesa Credit Union. Whether it's saving for the wedding or everything that comes after, we can help get you where you want to be. Find a healthier approach to money at Gesa.
The Junior Cougs Kids Club is presented by Toyota, is the official kids club of the Washington State Cougars, and it is the best way for the youngest members of Cougar Nation to show off their Cougar pride. Find out more information about your Junior Cougs membership perks at wsucougars.com/JRCougs. It is the Boeing Apple Cup edition of the Cougar Football Hour. Here we are live at the Lumberyard in Pullman, and we are joined now by Donnell Kirkwood Jr., running backs coach for the Cougs. Great to have you on the Palouse. Thanks for being here tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you, and let's get into your journey. So for you, you were kind of a later addition to the coaching staff, the way things unfolded. You joined in the spring. Tell us about how you became a coach, kind of your football journey that ultimately led that path here to the Palouse for you.
Ended up getting done playing for the University of Minnesota. Became a special ed teacher for 4 years before I decided to be done with that and go to coach Division II up in Aberdeen, South Dakota. Just kind of kept chopping at the bit. Ended up going to Western Illinois, so living in Macomb, Illinois for a while, and then playing against Coach Rogers at the University of North Dakota for 2 years, where he'll probably gloat that I never beat him. And then getting an opportunity to just come join his staff, where it's just hard-nosed football coaches.
So you're a special education teacher for 4 years. I imagine that gives you a lot of life perspective on things. How did being a special ed teacher for 4 years help you, and it helps you to this day as a coach?
Patience. Just patience. Putting yourselves in other people's shoes, having a little empathy when it's necessary.
Yeah.
So it's the big part of it.
That's well said, and that's a really great way to learn those lessons. Good for you for doing that, and now you get to make the impact on the lives of the Cougs, and specifically the running backs. So you played at Minnesota. Yes, you're from Florida originally, so you've had an interesting path here. If we're looking at the U.S. map, we're Florida up to Minnesota in the Midwest, and now out here on the Palouse. Yeah. How did you go from being in Florida and a Florida native to playing in Minnesota?
Well, first things first, my mom wanted me far away from Florida.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Why is that?
She just wanted me to experience something different, wanted me to go live my life, not be around the same thing day in and day out, and ultimately not get in trouble.
She wanted to buy you a winter jacket finally. That was it.
Yeah, and I had a pipeline kind of crazy through my high school to the University of Minnesota. My high school head coach, Andre Thaddeus, played for Minnesota, along with Brandon Owens and another safety named Jamal Harris. So.
Okay. You mentioned Jimmy Rogers. You know, you've competed against him. You get that phone call from him in the spring. What's that like when he says, hey, what do you think? You want to come join us here and come be a Coug?
Straight to the point. And me and Coach Rogers have been associates and known each other for probably 8 years. When I was coaching high school football, I used to always go up there with the high school team I coached and just compete in their jackrabbit competition. And you just kind of understand the way they played ball and understand the way they coached and what they expected out of even their players that were student coaches at the time. So
And it seems like this is a close-knit staff. There's a lot of deep ties. Are there ties with you and other members of the staff that go years and years back?
I wouldn't say years and years back, but yeah, I coach with the offensive coordinator at UND, and also the assistant quarterbacks coach here at UND as well. He was the receivers coach.
So Pullman, the Palouse, not an area you'd ever spent time in your life. How has it been? I'm sure hitting the ground running when you got hired. How has it been just soaking everything up here?
I love it. It's quiet. It gets cool at night, which I love. I hate being hot. It gets the right temperature in the daytime, so I enjoy it. Good food, good people. It's quiet. Got a big backyard for my dogs.
There
Perfect.
We go. Okay, multiple dogs?
Yeah, I got 2.
Okay, what kind of dogs?
German Shepherd and Golden Retriever.
Okay, how do they get along?
The German Shepherd is a bully.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, the Golden Retriever just puts up with it.
Oh, yeah, he's a big, dense sucker.
Okay.
He got some weight on him.
Do they burn each other's energy at least?
No. She burns his energy.
Okay. But you got the big backyard, though. That's the important thing. Love it. That is Donnell Kirkwood, Jr., running backs coach for the Cougs. We'll take a break. We'll talk about his position group. We will dive into the running backs when we come back. We are here live at the Lumberyard in downtown Pullman. It is Boeing Apple Cup week. The Cougar Football Hour rolls on after this. You're listening to the Cougar Sports Network.
Coug fans, don't miss a single play this season while camping on the Oregon coast, in the Sonoran Desert, or in the wilderness of Yellowstone in an RV from Valley RV Supercenter. Valley RVs can come with all the technologies you'll need so you never miss a down, wherever you are. Better yet, why not work on your pregame skills at an away game or in the Palouse, where tailgating was perfected. We're a proud Coug supporter. Come see us in Kent or at ValleyRVSupercenter.com, where journeys begin.
When putting in a tree or fence post, we all hate it when our shovel hits a big rock. But there are worse things to come across, like a natural gas or electric line. Nowadays, buried utilities are everywhere, some just below the surface. That's why it's the law to call 811 before you dig, to have your lines marked ahead of time. It's free for Avista residential customers. So call 811 2 business days before you dig. You need time to pick out that perfect shrub anyway. Avista, we just want you to be safe.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She can get a deal. Book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
Hampton and Pullman is just a short drive from the WSU campus. They've got you covered for all your lodging and dining needs with the new addition of their on-site bar and restaurant, Crimson Bar and Bites. You will feel right at home with their spacious rooms, famous Hampton waffles, cozy outdoor patios, Cougar gift shop, and the friendliest staff in town. Visit HamptonbyHilton.com to reserve a room for your next trip to the Palouse. Coug owned and Coug managed. It matters where you stay. Hampton and Pullman. Hilton for the stay.
This is the Cougar Football Hour. Tonight's show is presented by the Lumberyard. They got something for everyone at the Lumberyard Food Hall in downtown Pullman. Once again, here's the voice of the Cougs, Chris King.
It is so great to be here at the Lumberyard in Pullman. We are talking Boeing Apple Cup week. We are joined again by the running backs coach for the Cougs, Donnell Kirkwood Jr. Again, on our next segment, we'll have Washington State running back Angel Johnson stopping by, and then Jimmy Rogers, the head coach of the Cougs, will rejoin us as we have our opponent preview. But, Coach, we're talking about your position group. The running backs. Let's start with the guy we get to talk to in the next segment, Angel Johnson. How would you describe our guest here tonight coming up, Angel, on what he brings to the team?
Electricity.
I like that.
Yeah, he's electrifying, and they'll get to see it eventually. We'll get it right, and we'll get it going, but he just brings a different pace, a different speed, a different style of running.
Well said there, and let's go. And these first three guys, I'll mention, are guys who are familiar with each other and familiar with a good chunk of the staff, where they all came from South Dakota State. Kirby Voorhees, we've seen him get some hard-earned yards in his 3 games as a Coug. How valuable is the skill set that he brings to the group?
It's very valuable because he can do it all, and we expect him to do it all, and he knows that. That's what's on his plate. He's physical. He can zone run. He can catch the ball. He can run routes. He can play on special teams. He can pass pro, and that's what we expect out of him.
And then from there, Maxwell Woods, so banged up a little bit at the beginning of the year, but we've seen him a lot more the last couple of weeks. And in that game last week, he had a career-high 5 catches. What kind of weapon would you describe him as?
Fresh, change of pace. He gives you something that a lot of backs don't give you in the pass game. He can circle the defense. He has great elusiveness, so we have to use him and get him in space more.
And when we were talking with Coach Rogers about you, he specifically mentioned about the impact that you've had on Leo Pululasi. So familiar name for Coug fans, a returner. He's from the state of Washington. What's it been like working with him? Because obviously it's not gone unnoticed, the impact that you've had.
To work with Leo is fun. And I think sometimes we had to learn how to work and play, if that makes sense. His consistency has gotten so much better. His level of play, his physicality, playing up to his size has gotten better. And like Coach Rogers said, he's playing the best football that since we've been here. And it showed. And I think it showed to him, and he's enjoying it. And it went on through his day-to-day life as well, not just in football.
Well, that is great to hear. And then that's just some of the guys that we've seen out on the field. But who else in that position group do you want to make mention of the other guys you're working with day in and day out, even though we might haven't seen them on the field yet?
Yeah, I mean, you got Dylan Payne, who's just been a staple in our group, who's been a leader, who's been an older guy who can just show the guys how to work, how to be in meetings, how to take notes, how to practice. And he's been great. And once he gets back healthy, he'll be perfect. Then you got Trayvon, who's a young guy in the room, who's big, physical, and just got to keep getting him along, getting him improved.
So Trayvon Pankey, the youngest member of that group. Anything else you want Coug fans to know about these guys that make up the running back position group?
Oh, they're just they're a good group to work with. Like, I don't deal with any BS from these guys, and they come to work every day, and they're a talent, and it's a versatile room, and they're a fun group.
And Leo's probably the guy, but Dylan Payne as well, that might be able to gather around everyone. Let's tell you what it's like to not only play at this level, but when it comes to the rivalry with the Huskies. Has there been some of that conversation this week? Kind of, they've been given the history lessons?
Yeah, they've let us know like what to expect here and what this rivalry really means. And like Coach Rogers said, we've been a part of our own. I was at UND and when we played North Dakota State, and that's humongous. And when I was at Minnesota, we played Iowa. So we understand the rivalry, but it's like he said, it's something different. We're with different colors. So we're invested in it, and we understand it.
And you're looking forward to, there's been 2 home games so far and good crowds, but this will be there'll be a different level of buzz in the stadium coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we play the game for, right? So you got to show up, and they'll show up, and we'll see best team will win. Hopefully, well, I think that'll be us for sure.
Well, we've got our opponent preview coming up with Coach Rogers. That will be 2 segments from now. Our next segment, we'll have Angel Johnson. But maybe a little tease of that opponent preview. When it comes to all the hard work that you've been putting in with the running backs, what kind of challenge is it going to be on Saturday for the group to have success against what is a really strong Husky defense?
For us to keep improving, for us to do our job. In that room, we don't look at what they do to stop us. We would do what we do. And if they stop us, they stop us. But it's going to be a hard challenge for them.
Well, we are looking forward to the game. Great having you here. What a fun conversation. Appreciate the time and can't wait for Saturday.
Thank you.
Donnell Kirkwood Jr., running backs coach for the Cougs, stopping by and joining us here at the Lumberyard on the Cougar Football Hour. A reminder, Cougar Nation, each time you bring your Toyota vehicle to be serviced at a local and participating Toyota dealership, you can receive a premium Washington State giveaway item as a member of the Toyota Rewards Program. Stay tuned for more information on how to become a Rewards Program member. We will take a break. When we come back, Angel Johnson, WSU running back, will stop by. That is all after this. You're listening to the Cougar Football Hour on the Cougar Sports Network.
Winning a new GMC Canyon at Northern Quest is not without its drawbacks, like jealous neighbors, unsolicited questions about towing capacity, and sudden requests to help move a couch really quick. But something tells us you'll get over it. It's Northern Quest's $160,000 Grander Canyon giveaway. Play daily for your shot at a new GMC Canyon or $45,000 in cash. The Grander Canyon giveaway, only at Northern Quest.
Dear Traction, Toyota has 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. The RAV4 has legendary versatility. The Grand Highlander's adult-sized third row is for real. And the Tacoma's wild side comes standard. From job sites to campsites and game nights, there's an all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive Toyota to get you there in style. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Vanity Fair calls BritBox a delicious streamer. Collider says everyone should be watching. Catch Britain's next best series with BritBox. Stream acclaimed new originals like Code of Silence.
You read lips, right?
And Linley, based on the best-selling mystery series.
Say hi, Linley. Take it from here.
And don't miss the new season of Karen Piri, coming this October.
You don't look like police. I'll take that as a compliment.
See it differently when you stream the best of British TV with BritBox. Watch with a free trial today.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things. Like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed.
From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Back at the Lumberyard in Pullman, it is the Cougar Football Hour. Chris King joining you. Thanks so much for tuning in for our Boeing Apple Cup edition of the Cougar Football Hour. And a reminder, you can listen to every Cougar football game and coaches show for free on the WSU Cougars Game Day app. Take our broadcast with you wherever you go. Download the WSU Cougars Game Day app today. You can find it available now in the Apple App Store or Google Play. Again, search WSU Cougars Game Day app. And we are joined by WSU running back Angel Johnson. Angel, thanks for being here tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Well, it is a pleasure to talk with you, and it's been fun to see you in a Cougar uniform so far, and I know it's just kind of scratching the surface is what's in store for you this season. You're one of 75 new players on this team, but part of this kind of impact group that came over with the coaching staff from South Dakota State. How's it been getting the season off and going here? And you blink, it's the fourth game of the year on tap.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's been good just being here. Been here about like 6 months already, so it's just good to get into the season. You know, that's what you came here for, to play football.
So for you, your football path, when did you start playing football? Was it as soon as you could have a football in your hands, or was it a little bit later on?
My first sport I ever played was soccer. I started playing soccer in 4th grade, but I didn't start football until 6th grade.
Okay, to the 6th grade, and then did it just kind of take so naturally that, hey, this is my sport right here?
Yeah, I kind of fell in love with it and took off, so yeah.
Well, there we go. And your background, we'll talk first about kind of your playing background. We mentioned it with Coach Rogers, but that trio of incredibly talented running backs that you got to play with and be around, but 3 guys who have had opportunities in the NFL, Pierre Strong, Isaiah Davis, and Amar Johnson at South Dakota State. What was it like having this group and kind of being part of that, of this just incredible powerhouse position group?
Yeah, no doubt. Like my freshman year, I just had to learn and take a lot in. You just some of the older guys in the room, but you know, it's been a blessing just to be in a room like that with talented backs and just learning from them and taking things away from them that I can do to improve my game and be in the same position as them when the time comes.
How neat has it been to see their success and to see not only what they did at South Dakota State, but getting their opportunities in the NFL?
It's been good, especially when you see those dudes on a day-to-day basis and you see them in the shadows that people don't always see on Saturdays. You know the work that they put in, so when it comes to the light, it's just a blessing to see.
There's got to be, I mean, you get to have a front row seat to that, and hopefully, I'm sure it rubs off, and you see, that's what it takes. That's the professionalism. That's the work ethic that it takes, because that's incredibly impressive to get where they've gotten, and you've been able to be around it.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. Yeah, you just take a lot from them, and I know one thing that I took away is just how to take care of my body, just being in the training room, and you got to be in there. I mean, my coach says it's mandatory no matter how you're feeling, so just learning how to take care of your body because, you know, it is a long season and a lot can happen.
So for you, you're from South Dakota. You ultimately sign, you play at South Dakota State, but you head to Brookings as a wide receiver. Can you walk us through how that transition took place where everyone kind of got together and said, hey, we think your better spot here is to be a running back?
Yeah, no doubt, because coming out of high school, I played both, and they kind of gave me a decision of what I wanted to do, and I went with receiver at first, and honestly, I got tired of just running routes and not getting the ball. No, I'm just kidding. It was just a decision that was made late in fall camp, and we tried it out, and I feel like it was the best decision for me.
Well, it seems like it has fit very, very well. From South Dakota, as we said, Viborg, your what you say is your hometown, but we were talking a little bit during the break that it wasn't where you were born. Do you mind sharing kind of your journey from where you were born and then where you ended up growing up for most of your childhood?
Yeah, no doubt. I was born in Liberia. I was born in Africa. It was on the West Coast. But about a month in, I moved in to the States, and I was adopted my freshman year and moved to Viborg in 5th grade and just stayed out there for a while. I wasn't officially adopted until my freshman year. But then, just kind of started playing football, getting into sports, and getting everything going, and, yeah.
Wow. I imagine that you've lived some life. I mean, just for someone who's, in college and young, you've lived some life, I imagine.
Yeah, no doubt. It was a little process, and, everyone's story is different, but I wouldn't change anything about it.
Well, we're exceptionally happy to have you here on the Palouse and to have WSU as part of your story. And there's this game coming up on Saturday. I'm sure you've heard a thing or two about it this week. Yeah. It's the Boeing Apple Cup. You're one of the, large group of newcomers. You'll be playing for the first time against the Huskies. What have you heard about from the returners about this rivalry?
Yeah, this is what they've always talked about since I got here. They talk about Apple Cup, this and that, and, just the rivalry games. And, there's a lot of emotions and feelings that go into it. So they've talked about how the stadium's going to be packed out, how the fans are going to be crazy, and just the support that we have from the people, Pullman and everything. So I've just been excited to just witness it this weekend and then just be a part of it and then just be blessed to play.
And you'll be in action there with your teammates on Saturday, 4:30 kickoff at Gesa Field for the game. When it comes to the classroom, can you tell us what's kept you busy during your college career, and how's everything going with pursuing your degree?
It's been going well. I'm a social science major right now. Right now, my senior year, I only have one class a day, every day, so it's not too bad. A little lighter schedule than when I was, earlier in college. But I actually have a big assignment due tomorrow. So when I go back, I'll do some homework.
Well, we better get you fed here at the Lumberyard, get some good food, and get you all ready to finish that assignment. What class?
It's my race and racism class. I have a big assignment I have to do.
Big, like paper? You got like a 10-page paper you got to do?
Yeah, it's like 3 pages, but there's a lot of detail and it takes a lot of time. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you'll be a fantastic paper, and then you'll get that out of the way, and then of course you'll be plenty busy with football after that. When it comes to life after your time here at WSU, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but play football as long as you can.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then someday, hopefully, it's a long ways down the road that football comes to an end. Any thoughts on after that, or I'm sure you got a lot to just focus on in the present with football?
Yeah, no doubt. And for right now, I'm gonna just focus on the present and focus on football.
Now, there you go. Favorite thing about Pullman so far, about being here on the Palouse?
I like the food. I like to go to the land. I like cheeseburgers there all the time.
There we go. Well, if you hadn't had one already, get a cheeseburger, load up, get back to the schoolwork, and thanks for being here tonight. It's great having you as a Coug, and best of luck on Saturday.
No doubt. Thank you for having me.
Again, that is Angel Johnson, WSU running back, stopping by here on the Cougar Football Hour. We will take another break. When we come back, we'll be rejoined by the head coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers. We'll have our opponent preview. We'll talk about the matchup with the Huskies on Saturday. This is the Cougar Football Hour on the Cougar Sports Network.
Get game day ready at Rosars. Rosars is a proud sponsor of WSU Athletics and your headquarters for keeping snacks stocked up for game time. You'll find the largest craft beer selection, local and imported wines, and all the makings for your favorite cocktails. And while you're there, stock up on your favorite deli snacks, pizza, rotisserie chickens, and ribs. Don't just watch the game, experience it with your favorite game time foods. Get game day ready at Rosars.
If you use natural gas, you recognize its blue flame. But natural gas is actually invisible and odorless. That's why Avista adds a rotten egg scent, in case there's ever a leak. If you smell natural gas at home, get outside fast. Don't flip switches or do anything to cause a spark. Go somewhere safe. Call 911. Then Avista. We'll take care of the problem and tell you when it's okay to return. Till then, it's a good excuse to visit the neighbors. Avista. We just want you to be safe.
Download the WSU Cougars mobile app today, which features the latest news. Plus, it's your way to stream all of our Cougar Sports Network radio broadcasts. Listen to Cougar football, volleyball, men's and women's basketball, baseball game broadcast, plus coaches shows, all for free with WSU Cougars Game Day app. Take our broadcast with you wherever you go. Available now by searching WSU Cougars Game Day in the Apple App Store or Google Play.
Back at the Lumberyard in Pullman, it is the Cougar Football Hour. We are rejoined by the head coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers, and it's time now for the opponent preview presented by Coors Light. Choose Chill, proud partner of Cougar Athletics. Celebrate responsibly. Let's dive into this week's matchup. Of course, it is the Huskies' 117th Boeing Apple Cup. I guess before we talk about the opponent themselves, you mentioned how when you got the job, one of the first things, maybe the first thing people would come up and talk to you about was this rivalry. What have you learned about the history of this rivalry and what this game means to both fan bases?
You know, for me, I take in from what the players kind of have talked to me about, and that was really early. And we've kind of just hit the ground running and focused on how to improve as a football team. But yeah, just everybody that I met early on they would usually start or end the conversation with beat you dub, you better beat the team in purple, or something of that, sense. But I know this has been going for 125 years, and I know the last time that there's been a 2-win back-to-back season with Washington State as leading that has been since 2007. So I kind of spoke to the team about the opportunity to be that group and to break what is almost a 20-year streak of, Washington State winning and then losing. And I do believe if you have the right mindset and belief that you can do it and come out and execute and prepare the right way, it's the game of football. The ball doesn't always bounce your way. Right, and so it didn't bounce our way last week. Who's to say we can't come out and take this opportunity and run with it by creating momentum inside of this game, that we can have the success that we had some in San Diego State. And I've said this from the jump. I don't think, regardless of this game, of if we win or not, I don't think that we're going to be at what we need to be at or what we're capable of until towards the end of the season. You got 75 different people, and I know that everybody keeps talking about that, and I've mentioned that because I don't think people realize that this isn't Pop Warner football. You just don't roll out a ball. There's reps and feel and communication and connection and relationships and trust, and there's a lot of things that goes into this game, and you have to do it at a high level, and you have to do it with people for the first time this season. And you don't really know who you are until you face adversity. We've had some along the way, and there's going to be some that shows up in this game, and I do think it will be the difference at who responds and who plays the cleanest.
We'll break up our opponent preview into two segments. We'll get into another timeout. When we come back, we'll talk a little more about the Huskies again. That's the coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers. We'll be back at the Lumberyard in Pullman after this break. You're listening to the Cougar Football Hour on the Cougar Sports Network.
Nothing works up an appetite like cheering for your Cougs on game day. So why not cheer them on at Northern Quest with an impressive roster of restaurants and lounges? You can tackle the menu at Epic and catch every play on the 10 by 30-foot screen. Or grab a steak at Maslow's, a fine cigar at Legends of Fire, even a burger from Fat Burger. For your inner linebacker. See more at northernquest.com. Go Cougs!
Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. It's got that crisp, refreshing taste that makes every moment cheering on your team even better. Plus, the mountains on the bottles and cans turn blue when your beer is Rocky Mountain cold. So you never have to guess if your Coors Light is ready to drink. So crack one open, take a sip, and enjoy the game. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
A Progressive Home and Auto Bundle can protect you round the clock, but we can't protect you from those painful moments in sports.
I can't believe they're moving the team to another city.
True, but you'll never forget all the joy they brought into your life.
Joy? They made the playoffs twice in 50 years.
Gosh, those 2 times were pretty great, weren't they?
How would I know? I wasn't even born yet.
Just think of all the free time you'll have on game days.
Those games were the highlight of my week.
Well, at least your home and auto are protected with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Dear Traction, Toyota has 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive. The RAV4 has legendary versatility. The Grand Highlander's adult-sized third row is for real. And the Tacoma's wild side comes standard. From job sites to campsites and game nights, there's an all-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive Toyota to get you there in style. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Back here at the Lumberyard in Pullman, it is the Cougar Football Hour, and not only do we have the Lumberyard full of great Cougs, we're not only here with the head coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers, we got Old Crimson here as well, so we can feel especially the Cougar spirit and the Cougar pride with Old Crimson proudly waving here at the Lumberyard. Okay, Coach, we're talking about the Boeing Apple Cup, the matchup with the Huskies. The Huskies are 2-0. On the season. They're coming off a bye, a really lopsided win over UC Davis. Got the victory in week 1 for them against Colorado State. What has stood out the most about the Huskies when studying them?
Yeah, I would start at the quarterback position. I think the quarterback they have now is extremely good. He's no question an NFL player. And he's got unbelievable talent with his arm, has a really quick release, makes a lot of plays with his legs when things break down. We're going to have to do a good job of trying to contain him the best that we possibly can because he's fast. He's fast. And he's got a really live arm with great wide receivers to throw it to, a much improved O-line, a revamped O-line, and arguably one of the best running backs in college football in Jonah Coleman. And his backup is also going to be an NFL running back. So they're really talented on offense. I think you could see it just with their ability to outscore people in these first 2 games. Obviously having a bye and being able to prepare and improve on things that they maybe didn't feel like were efficient in the first 2 or how they can improve is surely an advantage. And defensively, they're sound, they're physical. They got great length at corner. They somewhat leave them on an island at times, and I do think that's a product of just, the new defensive coordinator's system of play. He ran the same stuff really at Purdue when he was the head coach, and he was the defense coordinator at Illinois prior to that, and it's been a proven product for him. And they do a really good job disguising defensively, whether they're in man or whether they're going to show man and then play zone. And so we got to do a good job at the quarterback position as far as making the plays, that are there for us to make plays, and we got to be able to do a good job of blocking up their front 5, when they do play with 5. So I think it's really important that we come out and start fast and, keep our foot on the pedal throughout the game and have, wrinkles here and there that nobody's seen. So we're going to try to keep them off balance, but we're going to play on the attack on both offense and defense. We got nothing to lose in this picture. We got to improve, and we got to just let it loose and be the team that, we have shown flashes of being, but more importantly, the team that we know that we can be, because we've shown it through practice and preparation. We just haven't played the cleanest, and we need to play together and not let the moment get the best of us.
Jonah Coleman, one of the names you highlighted, their running back, and the Cougs have been going up against him for multiple years at multiple different spots, dating back to when he was at Arizona. Adam Muhammad, kind of that other part of the 1-2 punch. I know you mentioned earlier this week that you recruited him pretty early on and saw that he was going to have a bright future in front of him. Is this about as good of a 1-2 punch at running back as you could go up against?
Yeah, I think so. Adam's got a brother named Muhammad, and we recruited him as well. And I know the Arizona kids, having recruited Arizona, the quarterbacks from Chandler, Arizona, and I was able to see him live out of high school, really the same exact, what they call down there is jamborees, and he was at the same one as Dylan Raiola, because Dylan Raiola at the time was going to Chandler High School, and he went to Basha High School, and watching those guys kind of compete, and he's got a live arm. But, yeah, the running backs were special. And Jonah Coleman's a special talent for sure. Smaller guy, compact, really big legs, hard to tackle, has elite speed, and has the ability to make you miss in a small window. But he will run through you. So when you have a physical back that can make you miss but also has the speed to separate and then the elusiveness, the spin off of tackles, we got to do a good job of taking the right angles and not dropping our head and getting there by committee, not just one person, and we got to swarm to the football consistently throughout the game.
There are some Cougs who have played in a number of Apple Cups. There are some guys who this will be their first. It's a good chunk of them. Obviously, the ones who played last year have fond memories of what happened in Seattle last year. I'm sure all the folks here at the Lumberyard as well have fond memories of what happened in Seattle last year. And I think of the returners, Josh Meredith. He had a career day in the Apple Cup last year. Ram Stevenson had a sack in that game. Christian Hilborn has played more snaps than any other Coug in this rivalry series. Brock Dew, Jamori Colson kind of pressed into action 2 years ago and did a nice job. Just a handful of guys. Have they talked to you? Have you talked to them about kind of getting their perspective on what the Apple Cup means to them?
You know, the guys have done a good job of just relaying the message to the ones that haven't played in it. They know how, personal and how big of a matchup this is. And for those that haven't played in a rivalry like this in any form, I think it could be new to them because we have a collection of players from really all over the country at different schools. And, we have junior college players that really never play in front of this type of experience, or this type of environment. So it'll be new for many players, but at the same time, it'll be new for a lot of Washington's team as well. They have a whole collection of players that have never played in this. The reality is when the ball is placed, you got to be able to do your job, focus, and block out the outside noise, and it comes down to who can execute, who's physical, and who wants to take the right approach for 60 minutes in the game. And, we got to out-execute them.
There's the Apple Cup trophy. That's obviously on the line. Have you walked by it much? It's in the building.
It's in the building. There's a countdown clock for this game. It's been there since I've gotten there.
So you inherited the countdown clock, right?
I inherited the countdown clock, and I know it's a big thing. We used to do the same thing, and we got rid of it, and we started winning more and more when we weren't focused on just one school. So the reality is, if we want to have complete success, you got to focus on yourself as much as you focus on anybody else.
When this job came on your radar, the WSU job, and the first things are kind of running through your mind, had you known about the Apple Cup? Obviously, it would have been from a distance if you had. Is it something that you were familiar with?
Well, obviously, every school has a rivalry, and obviously I wouldn't expect anything less, but this isn't something that I had marked on my calendar as far as taking a job that this is the main reason or this is why. I know it's an electric atmosphere. You've seen it when you've watched games on TV that in which, honestly, you should at this level in the FBS, and if you're playing for a program that football matters and sports matter in general, that there is an atmosphere that is always created at all these games, not just here but across the country. And that's the joy in college football, is the emotion in which this creates, and the pressure and the heightened sense of competitiveness. Like, that's why we all do this, and this is why we all want to try to do it at the highest level to push ourselves. And what comes with that is, criticism and blame and doubt and joy as well, and a passion to try to continue to create more. So for me, it's one of many games. I don't get self-consumed that this, and I know that's probably going to not ring well for a lot of people because they're diehard on this one game, but my focus has been on how do we create a product that consistently produces and consistently grows and gets better on and off the field to create the habits in which it takes to have success. That's what my focus has been on. So this is one along many, but my focus this whole week has just been on trying to get our team ready to play to beat this team.
Well said there. And we're kind of up against time here, and I know we've said quite a bit, but kind of the last time that we thrust a microphone, or a microphone's thrust in front of you before the game on Saturday.
I got like 30 other things tomorrow, and then like 7 prior to the game. So.
Well, any final thoughts? Because we've got Old Crimson here. We've got a great turnout here. Just any final thoughts?
I just appreciate you guys for coming out and supporting. This is a work in progress, and we won't be a final product, but I can tell you we're competing and we're trying to do our best to create something that everybody's proud of.
But we can't wait, Coach. We appreciate the time as always. Looking forward to Saturday. We'll see you out there at Gesa Field.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Again, that is the head coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers, joining us here on the Cougar Football Hour. A big thank you to our fantastic host, the Lumberyard. If you're coming into town this week, in a great spot to stop by. Everyone here enjoying great food and drinks. 4:30 kickoff. It is the 117th Boeing Apple Cup. all time. And for the Cougs, getting to play it back here in Pullman. 4:30 kickoff. Again, our coverage will begin at 2:30 with Derek Dice and Billy Newman. The Coors Light Cougar Tailgate Show will come your way. So not only a big thank you to Jimmy Rogers, the head coach of the Cougs, but to all of our guests here tonight, to running backs coach Donnell Kirkwood Jr., to running back Angel Johnson, and a big thank you back in the studio to Zane Saggio, doing a great job running things on the board for the Cougar Sports Network. And here locally on site on the video side, Jared Pringruber, and to Jerry Kylo as well. We are here every Thursday. Look forward to seeing everyone next Thursday as well, 6 to 7 right here at the Lumberyard in Pullman. I am Chris King, signing off here from the Lumberyard. You've been tuned in to the Cougar Football Hour on the Cougar Sports Network. Go Cougs!